Do you remember what the passage is about? Okay, show you this one. Yeah, this is really a short passage, and you can use it for primary school students. So you can have this kind of task. For example, ask students to summarize what they heard from the recording. You can choose the samples from different regions. But if the participants are low achievers or stutters, please give them a multiple choice, because it will be tricky and challenging for them to produce the main idea of the passage. Okay, and the other one is the specific information task. You know, we can ask students to catch the detailed information of the passage. For example, we can ask them a short question. For example, what should Stella bring? And for low achievers, we can give them some choices and also some distractors, and ask them to catch the main idea or catch the main information of the passage. This is the first type of the specific information task, which is to catch the meaning. While we have another type of the specific information task, which is to focus on the pronunciation. For example, we can give participants the transcript of the passage and place a recording. Ask them to circle the sounds which are different from the transcript. For example, if the samples from Hong Kong maybe mispronounced the which word? Mispronounced. For example, thick. Yeah, they pronounced thick. So the students may just circle this word. If they can distinguish the differences between the non-native like sounds with the standard sounds, it would be easier for them to produce them. And another archive, which is the International Dialects of English Archive. This archive is more useful for upper intermediate learners or advanced learners, because the passage is longer than the Stella one. You can see in this archive we have both scripted speech and unscripted speech. For the scripted speech, we just participants read the whole passage. And for the unscripted speech, the participants just told something about his or her family, or just the place or the place he or she was born and raised, some basic information about themselves. And also we can use the search function to search samples from different regions. Yeah. Well, take the samples in China as an example. There are 23. There are participants from 23 provinces. For example, the participants from Beijing. Yeah. If you just click the Beijing, you will get the results. Yeah, we have 2 samples. We can get the 2 samples. And also you can get the information about the samples basic information, for example, the age, blah, blah, blah. And you can also listen to the recordings. Yeah. Well, for this archive, we can also design 2 different kinds of tasks. The first one is, do you remember? Which kind of task?
GIST.
Yeah, GIST, information task. Well, if the students are low achievers, we can just select one paragraph for them to conclude the main idea of the passage instead of the whole passage. Or it will be really tricky for them. Yeah, and I will show this one. Well, if the participants are low achievers, we will give them some, multiple choices, okay? And, well, for the listening for the specific information task, we can, I chose one of the paragraph with a lot of actions. So I put them in different orders and ask students to listen and choose the one with the correct order. It would be, interesting. And also you can ask students to order by themselves. This is also a good, a good form for them to catch the information, catch the specific information. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chen. Yeah, I think this is the materials designed by her under my supervision, and I think that this is just some idea for sharing. This is our first attempt to try to design some possible, task for students, not for primary or secondary school students. And of course, we are really highly encourage you to join our section 2 online section. Actually, this is kind of series 3 section. This is the first section for workshop. Next week, we are going to have an online session. We shoot some videos and more material sharing for you. You can take a look at our section 2 and then section 3. We really highly encourage you to design your own lesson or task sheet, and then can share with us what's your idea. Because I think you are experienced teacher, or you are now you are in a teacher training program. You should have some more creative idea how to really make use of this kind of corpus, and then we can compile all this and can share to our students. Okay, but just now we just look at that is more for listening part. I would say that because I think we have non-native to non-native contact. We need to know more about their accent. So that's why we design some listening tasks. But how about how to improve our own pronunciation, our students' pronunciation? So I'm thinking. So that's why this is my how can I say that, my motivation. I've been here for 10 years. I'm from Taiwan actually. I got and then I've been here for, this is my 11th years, and I realized that students, especially for Hong Kong students, they are not really explicit to learn pronunciation. They got into this environment and they just repeat the students or teachers' pronunciation. If they follow a good model, the teachers have really good pronunciation, and then they got a very good accent. But unfortunately, if the teachers didn't really get a very good accent, actually students are not aware of that, and they just follow, and they got a lot of Hong Kong accent, just like a pronunciation. They never know that this is incorrect, or this is not appropriate, or like kick. A lot of different kind of, very strong Chinese accent, but they are not aware of that. So in my teacher training program in BA or BEd, I think that, or MAT, so I think that it's good to compile some corpus, compile the learners in Hong Kong, not only for Hong Kongers or also mainlanders, and we can try to do some annotations and help our future teachers to know how to deal with this kind of problem and how to give our students some feedback. So this is the rationale, the purpose, the motivation. I try to do this one. And the first one, this is the corpus actually, in this learning website, I compiled it in 2012 to 14. At that time, I start to think about it. How can I do this? How can I improve? How can I help teachers to teach pronunciation? So this is the website, and in this learning system, there are 4 components. So the number 1 is that we have 2 corpora, okay, and because actually 2012 we have 1, and recently we have another new one, try to expand the existing corpus. And then also, according to the corpus, we developed some online pronunciation practice and design for learners in Hong Kong and mainland China. And then we also a set of resources for pronunciation learning and teaching, including website, online videos. Because in the past years, in my year 1 undergrad students, they need to compile the portfolio. They suggest they use a different kind of website videos they think useful. So they recommend that and then I compile all these videos and websites, and I put it on this platform. And then finally, if you're interested in acoustic analysis, I also prepare a manual for students to learn more about acoustic analysis. So our corpora, there are 2, just like I said. I named number 1, the previous one, corpus 1. In this corpus, we provide, it's a very small corpus. I think it's very concise, very small for learning purpose or for teaching purpose. Compared with the previous 2, one international one, actually that's a very big scope. But this one, I think is very good. It's easy to manage, and only 20 sets of, 82 sets of high quality recordings. And then we have some annotation have been made for 40 speakers. We have different kind of segmental feature. We analyze segmental feature, vowels, consonant, and super segmental feature means linking, stress, rhythm, intonation. Okay, and then actually in 2018 to 2020, I got another grant, so I tried to expand the existing Corpus 1, and we named this one as a Corpus 2. Okay, and then basically the function is very similar, but I try to expand, because what is Chinese accent? What is mainland accent? Mainland is so big, so I try to expand the corpus, and we collect the mainland speakers with 8 different dialect backgrounds. I think it seems more reasonable, because people in Guangdong, the accent should be different from here. Those in Heilongjiang, for example, or in Taiwan, actually it's quite different. So I think if in the Corpus 1, actually we just have the one we call Hong Kong accent, the other one we call China accent. But it seems not, I'm not that satisfied with this kind of categorization. So in our Corpus 2, so I try to make it more details with the different kind of dialect backgrounds. I also compile some non-Chinese speakers, because you know, learners in Hong Kong is not only for Hong Kongers, mainlanders. Actually, we have a group of minority students from India, from Philippines, from Pakistan. So I think we also collect a small number of students from this group. Okay, so this is 2, so I think it's good, but this time I really want you to really go into this website. So if you have mobile phone, if you have computer, I really want you to at least you should just go into this. It's more like a workshop, because this time I really want to teach you how to go into the corpus. So today I would like to demonstrate the Corpus 1, because this is more manageable, more a small size, and but the second one actually is still underdeveloped. It's almost done, but we're still testing some functions. But it's good to let you know that we have this new corpus. Okay, so let's look at Corpus 1 first. Okay, for Corpus 1, first of all, you just go into this, and then you can use the browse function, and you can see 3 parts. So HK means Hong Kong learners, and of course you can find from the hometown. The category, you can search Hong Kong or mainland, and then gender, age, to filter the speakers. And then we have 3 passages, 2 passage 1, passage 2, and then we have, because passage is more reading aloud, it's a reading aloud activity. It's more control, because we read the same passage. But if you want to really analyze super segmental, like linking, like rhythm, intonation, it's good to analyze the interview. It's more authentic data we collect. Okay, so here's a speaker filter, hometown, gender, age, and then we also have a speaker code. HK means Hong Kong, ML means mainland. Okay, and then we have a data page selection, like the 3 tasks. And then if you go into this page, for example, you can see this part we call the speaker information. So for this passage 1, for example, this is a Hong Kong female, 21 years old, and her DSE or Hong Kong A level is D level, and the first language Cantonese, second language Mandarin, third language English, and then she has been learned English for 15 years, and then she got a bachelor in Chinese, right? Major in Chinese. Okay, and then you can see we have some annotation here. For example, IP. Later on, we will see the annotation for super segmental part, because the Corpus 1, Passage 1, we mainly focus on super segmental, means pausing, linking, stress, intonation. Okay, so we use IP, AL, ILS, II to annotate the inappropriateness for the speaker. Okay, and then for the sentence 1, for example, we can see the speaker's recording and the US sample and UK sample like this. Okay, so this is we call feature categories. Okay, appropriate pausing, CV linking, word stress, and intonation. And this part you can download not only for speakers recording, but also native speakers recording. Okay, so this is a page. For example, let's listen. Actually, if you go into the corpus, you can see, for example, you can listen.
Why do people usually have an accent when they speak a second language?
So we have, compared with the previous two corpora, they don't have this kind of annotation. We try to annotate the super segmental.
People usually
have an accent, so no linking.
second language.
Once again.
Why do people usually have an accent when they speak a second language?
Let's listen to native speakers.
Why do people usually have an accent when they speak a second language?
Why do you usually have an accent? So for native speakers, they have an accent. So they think have an accent. Okay, and then language, they use the falling tone, have an accent. Okay, language, let's listen once again.
Why do people usually have an accent when they speak a second language?
Why do people usually have an accent when they speak a second language?
Have a second language. So kind of a little bit rising. So you look at the blue line. Actually, the intonation, actually in this photo, you can see the blue line is intonation. Okay, so it kind of a little bit rising here, and also to have an accent. You can see some pause here, have an accent. I just want that the learners to visualize linking, because linking is a very abstract concept. How to visualize, you really have an accent. You should have an accent. So the line should be linked together. But if you have pause, that means it's not I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not that fluent. It's not that, the flow is not that smooth, okay? Okay, so this is idea for super segmental for passage 1. But for passage 2, it's a more controlled passage. We use this passage, this text, the boy who cried wolf. Okay, again, you can see speakers information. Hong Kong, female, 21, IELTS overall 6.5. Cantonese, second language English, and she has been learning English for 17 years. And then, of course, you can download the recordings and US sample and UK sample. So let's listen and see if you are the teacher. Can you analyze the error?
Passage 2. The boy who cried wolf. There was once a poor shepherd boy who used to watch his flocks in the fields next to a dark forest near the foot of a mountain. One hot afternoon, he thought of a good plan to get some company for himself and also have a little fun. Raising his fist in the air, he ran down to the village shouting.
Okay, so we just have a feeling that if you listen, it's fine. As a teacher, how can we give this kind of student feedback? We will say, IELTS 6.5, not bad, right? Speaking, yeah, and actually we couldn't give very concrete. I think the learners need concrete feedback. We just don't want to have, good, very good, and 3 smile face, done. So how can we give them more specific feedback? But if we don't get any training, it's really hard for us. We just have a feeling it's not that smooth and then, okay, so this corpus can answer you the question like this. So let's see. Actually, in the corpus, you can see we try to analyze all this data for you, and then you can show all. You can see you can hide, and just like the first one, everything's just blank. And the second time, you can show all the annotation, and you can double check with your own annotation. See whether it's kind of test and suggest the answer like this. So you can listen once again.
Passage 2. The boy who cried wolf. There was once a poor shepherd boy who used to watch his flocks in the fields next to a dark forest near the foot of a mountain. One hot afternoon, he thought of a good plan to get some company for himself and also have a little fun, rising his fist.
Okay, so this is the idea. You can hide just like the first one, and then you can try first, and then you can show and see whether your annotation is the same or different from this annotation. And then, of course, you can listen to US sample. So you can just click US sample.
There was once a poor shepherd boy who used to watch his flocks in the fields next to a dark forest.
Dark, so use American accent, dark, right?
One hot afternoon, he thought up a good plan to get some company for himself.
And you can also listen to UK if you like to follow UK accent.
The boy who cried wolf. There was once a poor shepherd boy who used to watch his flocks in the fields next to a dark forest near the foot of the mountain.
Okay, so through this kind of interactive, you listen, but I think it's easier to just listen one sentence by one sentence, sentence by sentence, and then give some, annotation, and then you can compare yours with the native speakers or with my own annotation. Maybe we have some slightly different opinion for some errors or inappropriate. I think it doesn't matter, but I think in general we can find some. But actually this is overall level IELTS 6.5. 6.5. So you can see if your students are like IELTS 5 point or 5.5, you can find more. Okay.
Overcoming its fear of being.
Okay, so this is the idea. And then, of course, you can use the search function. You can use the search function to design, because just like you can find a lot of errors, but how can we get started with? How can we train our students? Because we are so busy in English lesson, we have a lot of focus. We have reading, writing, speaking, listening. We have very limited time, so we need to have more focus only for some features, not everything, right? Okay, so we can use the search function. So you can see, for example, whether they have problem with T and D or TH sound, dental fricative like TH, or like SH sound, or S, or N, or R, or L, or vowels. And so this is you can see this kind of, we call this selected features and selected button you can show and clear here. Interview, we also have one section we call the passage 3 interview. For this part, we don't really have annotation, but it's free download. You can download this all the passage, and you can just like Chen design this kind of listening task. You can ask them some main idea of this. So this is interview for so they kind of self-introduce themselves, talk about their family, their last trip, their vacation. So you can download this kind of interview data and then ask your students whether they can understand what they said, or they can try to point out some mispronunciation or pronunciation errors. Okay, so again, there are all this information. Okay, so the second part is we call search function. I think this is another thing I think is good to recommend. The first one, you should know what are the most serious problems Hong Kong students have, or Chinese learners have, or South Asia students have. So for example, the search, CV linking, for example, a lot of this kind of features. If you look at this, you can see, wow, a lot. No matter you are mainland students or Hong Kong students, we all have this kind of problem. We try to enunciate every single word, but we don't really link. Okay, so this is the one feature I think we can work on. Okay, so this is the search function. You can see how serious students have. So you can show the secondary school students, for example, you can say, wow, among 40 students, more than 80% of students have this kind of problem, so we need to learn. So this is the one way to encourage our students to learn. And for the second passage, like segmental part, for example, consonant, let's see what the TH sound. I think, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do we think this is a serious problem? So let's see. You can search, use the consonant. And then the second step, you just choose fricative. Fricative like z. This we call fricative. So like V, F, or SH, S, or Z. We call this fricative, okay? Okay, and the third step, you can look at TH sound here, dental fricative. These two symbols means TH sound. We have two TH sound, and like I think, or then, this. So two sounds. You can find that if you step 3 and step 4, if you click this part to F, you can see what learners you can find. Almost 95% are Hong Kong speakers. So we will say, I think, use F to replace TH sound. It's a very typical Hong Kong accent. So maybe this is the feature we can work on. Okay, so this is the idea. Okay, so dental fricative TH. And then if you click the second button, S, TH is replaced by S, you can find a lot of mainland students. So usually mainland students will say I think, or Taiwan students they will say I think instead of I think. So this is another feature for Putonghua speakers accent. Okay, so this is the idea for search function. Okay, so I just give you a very general ideas for this Corpus 1. How about Corpus 2? I don't want to repeat because just like I said, Corpus 2 is kind of expansion of Corpus 1. So I want to show the video here. Maybe you can click. So this is Corpus 2. Basically, they are very similar. You can click, you can see all 3 tasks, but you can see more data than Corpus 1. If you are not satisfied with the Corpus 1, especially for mainland speaker, here we have more from mainland and also some SA means South Asia students. Okay. Okay. So let me show you this video, and you will know how to use this browse page.
In browse page, you can either browse all speech
We can review a bit.
by clicking the filter speaker button, or search for speakers that fit your specific criteria, such as language or dialect background, gender, age, first, second, and third language, and click the filter speaker button. Speakers in this corpus perform 3 tasks: reading of sentences, reading of a passage, and individual interview. You can access 4 data pages for each speaker. The first one is sentence reading with graphic illustration for suprasegmental features. In the graphic annotation, you can obtain information of linking, pausing, and lexical stress. Here, you can check the category you are interested in. Errors in this category will be automatically highlighted. If you click on the annotation, a graphic acoustic analysis will pop up with the annotated part in highlight. The second data page concerns segmental annotation for the reading of the passage "The Boy Who Cried Wolf." The passage is divided into 5 segments. At the bottom of the data page, you can select specific errors from the 4 categories. Annotation of the errors will be automatically highlighted. The third and fourth pages present audio recordings and transcripts of interview questions and answers. The speech data are not annotated. You can use these authentic, spontaneous speech data for various teaching purposes.
Okay, so you can see for the Corpus 2, it's more colorful. We make it more, a lot of colors. I think you will attract learners to use. And the first thing is we expand the data. This is one thing. And then we try to make it more user-friendly because we found some, especially for super segmental part, it seems not very clear to do the annotation. But in this one, if you have time, you can go to this page and you can browse and see how to use this one. I think this is more user-friendly than the first one. But the first one is smaller but easy to manage. Okay, so this is so before that, I think it's better for us. Yeah, now I want you to do the pair work, or we can do it. I want you to do a little bit hands-on. So should we do it together, or you can do it if you have the mobile or you have the computer? Yeah, you can just let's see. Let's go to the first corpus first. Let me demonstrate a little bit the first one. Let's go to the first one. Okay. Okay, so if you have you can go to click, you actually can click corpus 1 or corpus 2. So let's go to corpus 1 first. And then you can do the browsing. So browsing, and you can see the 3 passage. Okay, and if you are interested in passage 2, for example, the boy who cried wolf, you can listen.
Passage 2. The boy who cried wolf.
Wolf. Okay, it's difficult. Right?
There was once a poor shepherd
Shepherd
who used to watch his flocks in the fields.
This is
next
DSE
to
level
a dark
4.
forest near the foot of a mountain.
IT
One hot
major.
afternoon, he thought up a good plan to get some company for himself.
Okay, so you can
And
see
also
how
have a
you can
little
show all here.
Raising
So
his
everything
fist
up
in
here.
the air.
If you
Went
want to
down
try by
the
yourself first,
village
just hide.
shouting, "Wolf,
Just
wolf."
clear.
As soon as they heard him, the villagers all rushed from their
Okay,
homes,
just show all.
full of concern from their safety, and 2 of his cousins even
Or
stayed with
we don't
him
show
for a
clear. We
short
just look
while.
at TH sound.
This gave the boy
TH
so much
sound. There are
pleasure
so many
that
TH
a few days
mispronunciation.
later, he tried exactly the same trick
Or you can
again.
look more
And
about
once
vowel
more he was
S
successful.
or I
However,
or M.
not long after,
Or
a
want to know
wolf
more
that
about
had just
SH.
escaped from the zoo
Or
and
S.
was looking
So
for
everything's
a
up
treat
here.
from its usual diet
Clear?
of chicken and duck. So,
Only TH.
overcoming its
We can only
fear
look at
and
TH. So you can click
TH
here or there,
It's
only
exactly
one feature, and see
become
whether they have problem
out
like
from
this.
the forest
Or you
and
can,
begin to threaten the sheep.
show all, click everything,
Racing
or
down
only
to the
vowel,
hill.
or only consonant,
Boy,
or
of
only
course,
one
cried
feature.
out
So
even
this is the
louder than
idea.
before. Unfortunately,
So I think in the classroom, if you just show this one to your classroom, your students, you don't really okay, Becky, please read aloud, and everybody just make fun of you. I think usually students feel very embarrassed. I observed one class before in primary. I got a very bad experience. My student teacher just asked one P2 boy to read aloud one sentence, I remember, and the boy didn't know how to pronounce it properly. So, and then the whole class just laughed at him. And I realized that after that occasion, and that boy just keeps quiet for the whole class. I feel, he feels so hurt. So especially for pronunciation, maybe if students, make mistakes for grammar or some other mistakes, it's still okay. But if you have some pronunciation problem and you are being, pointed out, and that will tend to be a quite embarrassing situation. So for pronunciation teaching or learning, I think we should be very careful how to treat errors. In what occasion, how to treat the errors, that all are we really need to learn. Because I think this kind of bad experience for that boy, I'm afraid that he won't, speak out in class anymore. So this is my very, very bad experience when I was supervised one student teacher in primary school. So I think this is a good idea to show some other people's pronunciation, and actually all these speakers are anonymous, so we don't know who they are. And I also get a consent from them, so I think it will be okay. And this is a long time ago, 10 years ago, I compiled this, so it should be okay. Okay, so this is the idea, and you can use the search function. Just now we used the browse function to see all. Let's look at search function again. Let's see search function, and you can go to this page. Okay, and then let's look at just like consonant, for example. Wow, so many students have a problem with consonant problem, right? And then step 2, look at fricatives. Again, so many students have a problem with TH, V, F, SH, S, Z, or H, right? And then we click TH sounds again, because the reason why I use TH sound, because in our first language, no matter you are 普通话 speaker, Cantonese speakers, we don't have this sound in our first language. So it seems that this is one of the difficult sounds we have. Now, but this time, we don't click F, we use S. TH, okay, it's replaced by S. Let's look. All are mainland students. You can see ML means mainland students. Okay, so here means that Hong Kong students won't pronounce I think. Right? Usually mainland students or Taiwanese students will pronounce like this way. So it shows that different dialect background, different language background might have different kind of accent. So this is the idea. You can search. So if this is the case, if you have students from mainland cross the border to north area of Hong Kong every day, every morning, right? And then they might have this kind of problem. So you can more focus on this part. Okay, so if we have problem with TH, how can we deal with this? So this is our next step, right? So think about it. So corpus is just the first step, discovering the error or noticing the error. And then you self-reflect on your own. Yeah, I have the problem like this, so I need to learn. I think this is the idea. Because I found that a lot of students don't know they have a problem like this, like that. Okay, so this is the idea, to use corpus. Okay, so yeah, if you use this one, I think the same. You can browse, search. You use the new one, passage 2, consonant. Wow, a lot, right? A lot. Everybody should have a consonant problem, but how about fricative again? Well, still a lot, okay. And let's see if, how about V? Let's look at V, F, and V. And how about F replaced by P, for example? Let's see what will be happening. No data. How about S, Hong Kong 2, V? So that's less problem compared with TH. Okay. Yeah. How about V, W? Yeah. Okay. So very wary if they pronounce V to W. You can see not only Hong Kong speakers, mainland speakers, even SA, South Asia students might have problem like, thank you very much.